Hello everyone, my name is AL-Husseini and welcome to this beginner-friendly tutorial on how to use Unreal Engine Sequencer in Unreal Engine 5.5. In this tutorial we're going to talk about the features and possibilities of Unreal Engine Sequencer and how to create a cinematic animated video inside the Unreal Engine, and we will know how to animate cameras, animate objects and characters inside the Unreal Engine. So if you are looking forward to creating animated cinematics or create a cinematic scene for your game, or even visualize your architectural design, then Sequencer is the gateway to bringing your vision into life. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so technically now we need to close this out and start from scratch so that we can understand how to open Unreal Engine project, create an Unreal Engine project, and create a sequencer within it. Now we can go to Epic Games Launcher, or we can directly open the Unreal Engine editor. We can go to Library now and then open the 5.5.1, which is the latest hotfix for the engine, and now we can create our own project. Now we have the variety of templates that we can use. Let's use the third-person template, a regular one, as if we are creating a game. Let's name our project, for example, sequencer tutorial, and decide where to save this project. And once everything is finalized and we decide where to save our project and everything is good, we can create it. Now we select the folder and we can create the file and let it cook silently until the project is being built and created and ready to use. It will take some time, so I will leave you for a second and get back to you when it's finally loaded. And now the scene has loaded and we are ready to get our content pack, but I have already imported it, which is Downtown West. It's a free to use pack from Epic Games, and we can use sequencer in any environment that we want. How to get it, I have left the link for it in the description below. We can add it to our project using the fab icon. I don't know why it is not loading now, maybe because some internet connection issue, but anyway, it's easily to import it. Now we can go and through the content Downtown West and go to the maps and then load the level, and now we can find the environment in which we're gonna animate our sequence of animations. Now we have the environment and we can move around and navigate through it as if we are playing a game. It's easy, right click with the mouse and then we can use WASD as if we are playing a game and move around with the camera and see how the environment looks like. And then to start the animation, we need to go and create a sequence. We have two options: to create a level sequence or to create a shots sequence of shots, which will be like a master sequence or a route that contains multiple shots. And we can, each shot is separated by a different camera, and we can animate these shots separately, and we can have them all gathered in one root shot or master sequence. Let's create this for now. Let's name it like I don't know, tutorial sequence, or whatever the name that we can we want to use. We can name them whatever, and then we can see the other settings where we can modify the sequence. The number of shots, we need we can add from like 1 to 100. So for now we need 5. It's enough because it's for demonstration purposes. And now we can see the duration of each shot. 5 seconds is good for now, but we can, you know, extend it or shrink it as we want. And these are the other settings, like the name of the shots and other prefixes and other stuff. Once we finish and decide all these settings, I actually usually leave them be like this without editing anything. We can create our sequencer, and now as you can see, we have a master sequence containing 5 different shots, and each shot will be with a different camera. Created 5 shots for us, and in each shot we can find a different camera that is created for this shot, and we can animate the cameras as we want. Now if we double click here in one of the shots, we can see the cameras and the camera cuts here if we have multiple cameras, and this is our main sign camera actor, and we can see this lightning rod icon here that represents that this is a spawnable object. We'll talk about this in a second. Anyway, if we want to see what the camera is viewing now, we can create this toggle this little button here, and we can see what the camera is seeing, and now we can navigate as if we are playing a game and move the camera around. Okay, and this is how we can create our animation for the camera inside Unreal Engine. But to see what the camera looks like, or where is the camera displayed in our environment, we can do create the eject button here, and we can see the camera here, and we can select it and move it all around, and we can see through this little tab here that the camera is viewing what the camera is looking at and what it is viewing. Okay, so if we want to animate this camera, we can, you know, pilot it again and see how it looks. And before animating the camera, we can see the camera settings here that is replicating the industry standards of the cameras that are available worldwide. We can, you know, select the camera type from variety of cameras that are worldwide recognized, or we can create our custom settings for our camera. And also the same goes for the lens settings. We can create the focal length and the aperture and other advanced settings that we can edit to get the best camera look that we want to have. I made the focal length 18 here so that we can have a wider angle. 18 millimeters is a good angle for us, you know, to have a view of wide scene as we want it to be. Now to animate the camera, what we can do now is, you know, get the timeline here to the first frame 0, and then we can see the transform channel for the camera, and we are selecting it. We can create a keyframe here. Okay, we want the animation to start from here, and then at the frame like 124, let's say, by the end of this shot, we can you know, zoom in a little bit with the camera, and now we can create the animation. If we are, you know, happy with the animation, we can, you know, click create keyframe again here, and now we can see the camera animation and how it worked. Okay, it's just as easy as that. And we can, you know, go back to our sequence route, the tutorial sequence route, which contains the 5 shots. And now if we want to move the timeline, we don't see any movement of the camera. Why? Because we're not piloting the camera. Lock viewport to the shots, and then we can see our first shot is this camera. Okay, and we can, you know, move around. And when we come to the second shot, it's the static cameras that the scene has created for us. So it's creating a video editing montage that is already separating each shot on its on its own. Now, what if I don't like the camera animation? I mean, it's not as smooth as I want, or maybe I want to edit the animation movement on its own, and maybe change the camera angles and stuff like that while it is moving. How can I edit all that animation? It's simple. I can enter again to the shot, and then I can click on this icon, which can show me the curve editor, where and the curve editor, as in any other video editing software, is the place where I can choose any of the objects and see the keyframes and how they are how they are animated. Now I can see that I have two main keyframes here that represent the animation and transformation of the camera throughout the timeline, and then I can edit each and every one of these keyframes. I can, click on a keyframe and just do a right click, and then I can change the type of the keyframe to make it auto, user, break, linear, constant, or any other type of keyframe, so that I can manage how the easing in and easing out of the animation towards the through the timeline. And then let's say I want to create this and make it a linear keyframe. Now you can see that it's become more crisp here, and the peak will be, the animation will not be as smooth as we have created it before. Now let's see how it's gonna end now when we finalize. Yes, this is how it ended, with no easing in or easing out. So maybe that's not the case, but I was just showcasing how we can edit the keyframes in the curves editor. Also, we have other tools that can give us the ability and freedom to edit and modify our animation sequence. Let's say I want to edit the speed of this animation, and that I don't want it to be moving a frame and in a direction and the other frame in the other direction, and then nobody can understand where how to utilize the time with the animation. I can use the retime tool now to stretch and squeeze the animation timeline, so that I can make it faster, and the effect will affect all the timeline keyframes, not only one, but it will affect all the keyframes in a distributed weight, so that each frame can be affected a little bit. So this is the retime tool. Now I want it to be like 75 frames length, and now it can be faster. You can see how fast it is. Yes, you can see how fast it is. And if I don't want it, I can just click this, exit out, and then I can double click again, and then I can double click on the end, the couple the two ends of the timeline that I want to animate, and then I can reanimate the sequence and switch it in a different way, and then it can maybe, now when we play the animation, you can see that it can start easy, and then it goes faster, and then it finalizes. So this is how we can edit our animation curve editor, and then we can easily edit whatever we want inside the curve editor. The curve editor inside the Unreal Engine sequencer can give us the freedom and the ability to animate smoothly and easily, and modify the animations as we go. Now that we have edited our curve editor, and then we knew how to edit our animation, now we can go ahead and think about animating a certain object. What about if I want to add a character to the scene and animate this character in my sequencer. I can go here to the content browser and I can go to characters, and I want to search for one of the characters that come with the third person template. I can say, what about doing Manny here? Okay, I can add it here to the sequencer. Let's wait a second for it to load, and then after it has been loaded, how to add it to my sequencer. Now I can go here, add actor to sequencer, and I can see add SKM Manny, which is the skeletal mesh of Manny, can be added here to the sequencer. Okay, now if I have Manny here, I can pop out of the camera for a second and now go to Manny. I can press F to zoom in directly to Manny character, and I can see here we have these icons for the control rig. What is the control rig? It's the tool to animate each and every bone of the skeletal mesh that we have. But for the purposes of this tutorial, as it is an introduction, we don't need the control rig now. We want to use pre-made animations for our character. So let's delete this control rig, and now we can add animations. What if I want the character to be animating in idle situation, and let's say, okay, I want you to do idle, and then when I play, okay, it's breathing. Wow, it's came to life. So it's really awesome that and easy to add animations to my scene. What if I want to add multiple animations and I want to blend between these animations? Let's shrink this timeline of the idle animation for the character, and I can add animation again through this icon here. And let's say I wanted to start walking. What about walking in place? That would be a good animation though. And then when I add them, I can see that the character can be animating here, and now it starts working in place. But you saw, I think, the jump here that comes out of nowhere because it's the transition. It's a very hard transition between the two animations. How we can solve that? It's really easy using sequencer. You can get the second animation and then you can move it inside, and then you can see the blending that is coming here automatically between the two animations. Now let's see how it would work now when I press play again. It is idling, and now it starts moving around. This is how we can, move our character and start animating our character inside sequencer. It's really easy and very smooth to do that. What if, on the other hand, I want to, make the character itself move on a timeline? Let's say I want it to be rotated like this. I'm using the shortcut E to create the rotation icon, and I want the animation of the character to start when it starts moving. I want it to start at when it starts here. Okay, I want the transform to start, and I want it to move like couple of steps forward. I can do the character movement here, and then I can press transform. Now I can see that my character started working. Now how I want to do this animation in a way that corresponds with the timeline animation, it's by I can do that by editing the weight of the animation itself. Let's see here, we have our work in place, and I can do the weight of it, let's say half, and then the animation itself it become slower so that it can accommodate with the timeline. But in our case here, I want it to be multiplied. Like let's say I want it to be 2, and then it can be faster. And this is how we can manage to animate our character. Now let's jump back to the camera and play everything again. And I can see that my character is there, and it started to being it's starting to being animated. Okay, this is how easy it is and how everything can work around very smoothly inside sequencer of Unreal Engine. Now, to wrap things up, what about creating our first shot and rendering it out and see how it would work, and discuss some render settings. We have two ways to render this shot out. We can use the render movie setting, which is this one, movie scene capture, which is the legacy system that was used in earlier version of Unreal Engine and is still being used, or we can add the movie render queue. How to activate the movie render queue, or where we can get this movie render queue, we can look around it, and we can't find it here until we activate the movie render queue plugin, which can be found here. We can go to edit, plugins, and then here add movie render queue. This is the plugin that we need to activate, and also we can do the multipass rendering by activating the render passes. And we can activate this and activate this, and it needs us to do a restart so that we can use the plugin again. So let's restart this, save everything, and restart the engine. Now we have the engine restarted, and now we can go ahead and activate the movie render queue. Okay, where is our scene? We can go back to the content, downtown west, maps, demo environment. This is the level that we were inside, and we created the animation that we have created. How to get to our sequence? We have two ways to get to our sequence. It's either from the content here, you can go to cinematics, sequences, tutorial sequence, and you can find our sequence route in here. You can double click and find it, or there is a much simpler and faster way. It's where you can use this icon here to display all the level sequences that you have. These are sequences that I have made earlier, but this is our tutorial sequence route, and when you click on it, you can see that we have it in here. Okay, now we have created our shot and we want to render it out. How to do that? Now we have the movie render queue. Now we can have it here, or the legacy scene render capture, which captures the scene in real time. Movie render queue is a better way somehow, or maybe some people prefer to use the movie render queue because it has a variety of settings that we can use to render out our scene. Now when we use the movie render queue, it can give us the shots that are going to be rendered out, which is shot number 1. It automatically selected shot number 1 only because we are inside shot number 1. If we are outside, we can choose them all, or even we can activate them from this menu here, but we only need one shot to be rendered out. Okay, what about the settings? We can go to the render settings here. We can decide what type of exported sequence that we want. We can add whatever format we want. We can have BMP EXR, which is the raw image with the higher quality and less compression. We have PNG sequence, which is, you know, it's the midway point between the low quality and the high quality images. We can export audio, we can export XML files for the Final Cut Pro, video editing professionals, and also we can prepare the scene for other post-production settings. Anyway, for the time being, we want to export a JPEG sequence. We can use default rendering, which is the best way to render real-time rendering using Unreal Engine. And here we can decide where we want the output of our rendered sequence, where it should be. It's usually by default it creates a saved folder where inside you can see the rendered sequences. We can create our folder here if we want to render it to our own custom folder. Render, let's say, sequence, and we can create this folder, select it, and we can here decide the output resolution. Okay, let's make it a full HD. We can use 4K, we can use 8K, whatever we want, and we can decide the frame rate. We can decide whatever we want here. By the way, this is the naming convention, and we can here use a sequence name and the frame number. It will each and every image will have the sequence name and the frame number. We can use other option, like let's say shot name if we want, and the frame number, as we are dividing our scene into multiple shots, so that we can each shot will each sequence for each shot will have the name of the shot on its and that would make it easier for us to edit in the final output. Also, we can add multiple passes like anti-aliasing, and we can do the samples and more advanced options, so that we can prevent the jagged edges around our frames, and we can add multiple other options to get the best out of the Unreal Engine quality. That's it for the rendering settings, and I will for now do accept, and I want to create this shot. We can do a local render local or render remote. Render local, which will render the scene inside Unreal Engine. Render remote will render it in a separate process that is side by side by Unreal Engine. If I want to make other editing and stuff like that inside the engine, I can keep the engine running and also do the render in a separate pass. So for now, let's make it a local render, and I press render, and I see let it buffer for a second, and then it will start rendering out our scene. And this is how it would look like while it is being rendered. It compiles the shader now, and then it starts rendering out our scene. Let's give it a second to load. Okay, now that it has finished loading up, now we can see the render preview in here, and we can see the animation of the camera and how it is being animated, and now we can see the frames that are being processed and the rendered out image. And now after it has finished, we can see there is a simple notification here, but we don't really need to care about it. And now we can go to our project here, we can go to our project, and let's see Unreal projects, sequencer. Okay, in content, I found it in content, render sequence. It's that same folder that I saved the file in it. And now we can see our sequence images here where we can, add them to our movie After Effects, Premiere, or what other software that we can use to do the post-production, and we can export out a video out of these animated image sequences. Okay, this is the way of creating a rendered shot using movie render queue. What if I want to render using the legacy movie capture? I can do that. I can, do the movie capture sequence AVI, or also I can do an image sequence or a video. Let's make it a video because I want a video, and uncompressed because I want the best quality out of it, and let's make it 1920 by 1080 full HD quality. Sorry. And then we can go to the same folder and render out the movie capture. It will capture it directly from the scene as if I press play, and then it will give me the final output in a video. And that's it. Here we have our video. Not this one. Here, add the content, render sequence, video captures, and I can see the demo environment. It's a video now, and I can play it, and everything works fine. And that's it, guys. This is how you can create an animated sequence inside Unreal Engine. This is a first video of many more to come, and throughout the days I will be adding more tutorials to discuss more in depth the features, the possibilities, and the tools of Unreal Engine Sequencer, and how we can utilize this tool to create our animated sequences and cinematic animations, and also amazing videos with amazing quality. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, give us a like, and support our content so that I can upload more videos in the coming days. Thank you for watching, and peace out.